so proud of this group and the way we played. I wish we trusted that style of play a little bit more, but I know playoffs kind of shifted our rotations and what we wanted to do. But I'm so proud, and it was my favorite year of my basketball career.
Okay, we discussed this quite a bit yesterday, but we haven't heard from the former Celtic, Kendrick Perkins, or obviously Cameron yet. And so, Perk, you go first here. What did you make of Jaylen Brown's live stream comments?
I hated it, every bit of it, the whole thing, because one, he had no level of accountability. I don't want to hear about Joel Embiid, flopping. You were up 3-1. You lost 3 games on your home floor, which the Garden used to be a sacred place. It used to be a hard and dangerous place for opponents to play in. But instead, they got real comfortable in the Garden. Under your watch, Jaylen Brown, you were the GOAT. You were supposed to be the guy. You finished in the MVP conversation top 5. You were supposed to deliver in great fashion. You couldn't close out one of those games? When I'm sitting up here watching a young man in Detroit and Cade Cunningham go crazy and put his team on his back and go for crazy numbers, and then outside of that, addressing these comments of it was his favorite year of his career. Last time I checked, you just won a championship. Finals MVP, conference finals MVP. Like, what are we talking about at this point? And when you say things like this is what sparks up conversations with us and have us thinking, well, damn, are you shooting a shot at Jason Tatum? Because he wasn't available this year. Do you feel like y'all can't coexist anymore? Because see, I don't like this because it caused tension. And so, at the end of the day, we never hear rumors or reports about them hanging out together, doing workouts together, or going to dinner together. Hell, I even heard him on his live stream say that he been asking JT to come on there. And JT, I didn't watch Jason Tatum do everybody else's podcast but his. And then you come out and make these comments. I just hate everything about it, to be honest with you.
I totally agree with you. Thanks, Shay. I totally agree with you. Jay Will, yesterday, he made the same sentiments you made. And Stephen A. was like, you didn't really have too much of a problem with it. I have a big problem with it. I think that this was bad timing, that everything you just said, Perk, it's already who's Batman, who's Robin, whose team is it, whose team isn't it? And what you just said, how's this your best season when you just won a championship 2 years ago? Not only won the championship, you was the Eastern Conference MVP, the Finals MVP, but this year getting bumped in the first round without Jason Tatum being there is your best season. I think, period, players need to figure out when they're doing Twitch, podcasting, everything else during the season or during the playoffs, because when you do this and you don't win, it seems like this is your go-to. This is your main thing. You're not going to make $340 million or $325 million on podcasting. You're not going to do it. Take 48 hours, 72 hours, like Jay Will said yesterday, and think about what you're about to say. People run to the podcast, run to the streaming. We've seen a lot of players, whether it's guns off the court or hanging out with strippers, costing their jobs, being fired, so on and so forth. The main thing is you're an athlete before everything else, and you need to control your emotions. That's what I believe. I think he shouldn't have did it. Totally agree.
We only got a minute left in the segment. What I'm going to say to you is this. When I was saying I didn't have a problem, it was when he was talking. It wasn't this quote where he said, you know what, it was my best year, because I didn't hear that they played a different sound. I certainly had a problem with him complaining about Embiid flopping and all of that. You were up 3-1. No excuse. You were up 3-1. You're a former NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP. And by the way, you did it the year you got your contract. You signed your contract in July of 2023 for 5 years, $304 million, and then went out and won the chip and won an NBA Finals MVP. So major props to him. That was clearly your best season. But then to come out and to sit up there and blame flopping and to really highlight that stuff really bothered me. And then to say what he said about this is his best year, I'm like, really? I mean, I understand that's putting it on your shoulders and you carrying the load, but knowing the history, the question marks that involve you and your relationship with Jason Tatum, for him to say that, when you reflect on it even more, it's like, he fed into all the negativity that has been said about him. I found him to be a brilliant brother, very, very smart, decent dude, the whole nine, good brother. but this was not smart. And the one thing we have never associated Jaylen Brown with is not being smart. We've never said that about him. This was not smart.
Yeah, look, this game was played on Saturday. We're still talking about this game only because of these comments, and that and there lies the problem. Coming up here on First Take, we got a fresh out.
Everyone loves the question. So the Knicks obliterate the Sixers last night in Game 1. Who's the last coach to win a playoff series after losing Game 1 by at least 30?
I have no clue.
Wilbon is in here.
No
Wilbon,
clue.
you want to phone a friend? Wilbon's
I have no clue. I'm going to go back to Pat Riley, and I'm sure somebody more recent.
All right,
Riley did it in 85.
Riley did it. I know he did.
I do not remember this, but I'm just going to say, because I'm trying to get inside Hembo's head, I'm just going to guess it was Nick Nurse.
How about this? How about if I told you it was Nick Nurse 2 weeks ago?
That was an absolute guess. That was an absolute guess.
Hail Marys do work.
That was an absolute guess.
It just
Absolute
happened.
guess.
2 weeks ago, they
Absolute
lost
guess.
Game
I
1
swear
by
to God.
32 points. And look at Hembo. He had already counted that one as a win. The entire list, by the way, is Nick Nurse 2 weeks ago.
All right, I'll see you next week. I'm done. That was a total guess.
Billy Donovan in 2016, Pat Riley in 85, Billy Cunningham in 82. So we're going back a long way before all of that. And that brings us back to last night. Behind the 35-point outburst from Jaylen Brunson, the Knicks hand the Sixers a 39-point loss in Game 1. Brunson has dominated the Sixers in the playoffs. He has scored 35 or more points in each of his last 5 games against them. The Knicks are now a 6.5-point favorite in Game 2 tomorrow night at DraftKings Sportsbook. The Knicks have had one of the greatest 4-game spans ever. The odds markets are very much taking notice. They're now almost even money to win the East at plus 110. Just 2 weeks ago, the Knicks were plus 550 to win the East. So a lot of people join us here getting ready for First Take, and the conversation coming up right now. Do the Knicks look like the team to beat in the Eastern Conference? Jay Williams.
Yes. I mean, look, Detroit is still there, obviously. Same with Cleveland. It's interesting just Cade Cunningham having the Knicks number. But once again, like the Knicks offense and defense right now, and like I know we could say that Philadelphia was tired and coming off, but the last 3 games, they're playing at their peak right now. Can they sustain that? I mean, right now, the door is open. I said this is the best that the land has been laid for the Knicks to actually have a chance to win the whole thing.
The Knicks. But remember, Detroit beat them like a dog 3 times. I think the closest margin of victory was 15. The other time, Detroit destroyed the Knicks. Now, I mean, when you go into a series, if you get that, you go in, I think that gives the Knicks some sort of advantage emotionally. Just revenge in the playoffs. But yes, the Knicks right now have to be the favorite.
So styles make fights. Alan, you cover the Knicks day in, day out, so you've seen every game they played this season. The matchups against Philly, and then if they get that far, assuming if they were to win this series, against either Cleveland or Detroit, how do the matchups break down for series like that?
First and foremost, I'm going to beg Stephen A. to just keep it, just calm down.
Oh, good luck with that.
We all know that it's usually excruciating for the Knicks in the playoffs and their fans, and you go through these things. Right now, this is the highest high any Knicks fan has ever been on. This is one of the great weeks in the history of Knicks playoffs going back to 1973. But you all know that it all comes back. What goes around comes around. So be very careful starting to predict things when we're in the second round in the first game. Having said that, the Knicks win a lot in Philadelphia. And so they got one win already. They're trying not to let Knicks fans buy tickets in Philly because they know that place gets taken over by New York fans. Getting this first win, critical. Because even if something happens in Game 2, and it does, like the Knicks are shooting 70% from 2-point range, in the last 3 games. They are on fire right now. If they start missing shots, you lose a game, whatever. But they're going to go to Philadelphia very confident they can win games there.
Yeah, I mean, Winman, to think that it's going to continue like this is unrealistic. They're beating people by 40 points a night. But to think that what they have discovered, the level at which they are playing at both ends of the floor, is something that they're capable of, it certainly does look like their ceiling right now is the highest of any team in the East.
Rini, what the hell is this at the bottom of the screen? 4%? 1%? Have you guys watched any of these teams play for 6 months?
Yeah.
All of these teams are flawed. The entire Eastern Conference is one giant flaw. the concept that anybody would have an idea of how this is going to go based on 4 games is laughable. If you're going to say that you think that the Knicks have the highest ceiling amongst these 4 teams, you might be able to convince me of that. But the idea that the Cavs have, I mean, with all due respect to the formula, 4%, 1%, did you just see Embiid look like the best player in the East all last week? He might look like the best player in the East all next week. I mean, like, yes, today the Knicks look like they're playing well. I have no idea whether I can trust them. There were times during the regular season where they looked like they weren't going to get out of the first round. So, yeah, they look great right now, but the consistency has been the whole problem with all of these teams. The Cavs were this close to being eliminated. The Pistons were down 3-1. The Sixers were down 3-1. I mean, the Knicks, come on, guys. Let's have some perspective on how playoff series actually go.
Let the record show. We didn't make up the analytics. Yeah, but I hear you, and I don't disagree with you. The Pistons were losing by 24 points at halftime or whatever it was on the road in Game 6 at Orlando, and now here they are almost on. Yeah, it's Hembo and his people that you're yelling at more than anything.
Break the computer.
I will say how Karl Anthony Towns continues to attack Joel Embiid, I think is important. Like, don't forget, like, he was in foul trouble. He had his first 2 fouls within 5 minutes of the game. All right? So, like, it's...
And so did Robinson.
And so did Robinson. So Brunson was able to relieve them with 24 points in the first half, right, and play extremely well. But, like, that is a critical matchup for how that opens up the floor for the rest of the night.
All right, Coach Jay, give me the one adjustment. Now you're Nick Nurse, and he's an excellent coach. We just showed you. He just did this. Yep. 2 weeks ago, he got blown out just this badly in Game 1 against Boston. We were in here making fun of them. I remember watching that day. Shaq and Kenny and Charles and those guys were making fun of the Sixers, basically saying this is not even going to be a series, and they won. If I had told you after Game 1 of that series they were going to win, it would have sounded just as unlikely as it feels this morning. So what's the one adjustment you make in Game 2 if you're the coach?
I think it's you throw this one out the window. This never happened. And I think, once again, I don't think the Knicks felt anything from the 76ers defensively. I don't think they felt the body. I think they have freedom of movement. I think there was a lot of – so I think, once again, how they guard that pick and roll, if you can blitz that, get the ball out of his hands, they're still going to force rotations, but it all comes down to defensive energy and effort. They're going to score points.
What changes, Michael?
I don't think they feel anything from Philadelphia offensively. I mean, Embiid and Maxey and Embiid. By the way, just looking at the bench, the one problem I think Philadelphia has is, other than Drummond, okay, Grimes here and there, right? Drummond, Nick doesn't have a lot to go to here to say, okay, let me keep Embiid's minutes down. How you going to do that? Because you may need to play Drummond some of those minutes anyway. But those two guys have got to carry this. I don't think there's any secret sauce. They're going to have to be great in this series starting tomorrow night.
I saw Nick walk down the bench one time, looked at a player, went like this, turned around and go, no. Look down. No, go back. Go sit down.
No. He's talking about Nick Nurse. To be clear, Allen is positioned right by the visiting bench.
This is not OKC when it comes to depth.
No.
For those Wendy, put a final word on it here as we get set for Game 2.
One thing I really liked, Allen mentioned it earlier, I think the Sixers came out with a great mindset to get Karl Towns in foul trouble. I thought he committed 4 fouls in the first quarter. He only got called for 2 of them. I think you go back to that. He can't keep his hands out of the cookie jar. I think you put Towns on the bench with fouls. You put Robinson on the line. That's a good strategy. They should go back to it.
All right, great week of hoops. By the way, we'll have that Game 2 for you tomorrow night. Is our night.